Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Live. It's Season 2, Episode 26, 28th of June, 2017. So this one's titled Time to Rise from the Ashes. So it's clearly all about the Phoenix and this week's updates. I'll just quickly say hello, admins. How are we?
Hello.
Hi, Robin. How you doing? Hi, Brian.
Good, thanks.
Hello, Uncle Mark.
Hello, Auntie Ren. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, okay. There seems to be a little bit of a problem with the chat tonight on the live feed there. So I know Rue is refreshing crazily and that sort of stuff. So she'll pick up what she can basically, but unfortunately I can't see the chat this time round. So you'll have to just pause and interrupt if you want, or raise your hand or something, or just type something in our own admin chat if you wouldn't mind. And then I'll pause talking, and then we'll discuss whatever it is that comes up. So I think the first thing to do is to jump to the slides as ever, and we'll start things off as normal. And hopefully you can all see that. I'm hoping so. Right, so splash screen up. What are we going through tonight? So there's the content. Not a huge amount of slides for tonight, which is nice.
So we have another TLC, yay!
Yeah, exactly that. There's well, the nav relays are quite interesting, but they're actually nothing new. But at least they've given us another look at some stuff. FM target transition. I'm just going to remind people on that basically. Content update, build times like that. Bug fixes in tune.
A few times, yay! For real this time.
We'll call it bug fix, but we'll have a little pause on the bug fix, and then there's a team note at the end to the community. Right. So here we go. There's a couple of slides, like I say, on this one here. So here we go. The Hunger TLC is out. As it says there, you can see it's Garrison yet again. Okay. And it gives you obviously what it basically gives you is a turret, a special for it, and then a new ship, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay. As ever, it's split between some normal sea battle targets, okay, and then some base targets. It's a limited hull, which means it doesn't mean you just get. It's not a flagship. It's a limited hull. You get to the final round, basically, you have to do it 5 times. And if you get the 5th time, okay, then you get the chance to get a badge as well. But if you only do the final round once, then you're just going to get 1 hull. So it's up to you if you want to get all 5. But there you go. So it's up for a few days, which is quite decent. So
well, when was last time you built 5 of a Conqueror?
I haven't, but I got a funny thing. This particular one, you might have to if you really want to do it. Up to you. We'll look at the stats of it when we get to it in a minute and see what you think. Timely that it's a launcher one, okay, of today, but we'll come to that point later on. So here we go. It's there's 3 runs. Price pack 1 obviously is giving you some structure build tokens. Why is that then? Because obviously you get the special for a turret. Okay then. So please note, somebody did think earlier on that this was actually a new ship launcher. It's not, because it has got a huge range of 200, which would really, really wreck the game, but it's not. It's a turret. Okay. There's a special that goes on to it, obviously, and you get that in, obviously, so you get the special and you get some build tokens in Price Pack 1. Price Pack 2, as you can see, then obviously you get some VXP tokens for the hull that comes in number 3. That's pretty standard practice nowadays. You get more structure build tokens and you get the new launcher. Okay, it's a real shame Liam's not here. Okay, I'll just like him to give it a pronounce. That'd be funny. Right, Price Pack 3, basically, as it says, I've highlighted it. You can repeat it up to 5 times. It gives you a 6-day build token for the one. Has anybody actually been in game and seen how long the blank takes to build? I don't know if anybody's on. We can just do that live if we could. That'd be quite handy.
Give me like 2 minutes.
Thanks, mate. So you get 6 days basically, and obviously you get 1 hull. That's it. And as I say, you know, go for it 5 times and you get a badge, which I haven't got a picture of tonight for a change. So my apologies there. Good. Breaking down then. So here are the actual pictures themselves. And so here's the actual special. Shockwave damage is plus 20%. Obviously, supercharge times 3. And radioactive reload 40%. What else could this go on, Ren? What do you think?
Oh, that certainly could go on a glacial turret, because if people are still using glacial, I have one in my base. It's a very slow reload, and gaining 40% on reload time actually can make a huge difference.
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go way back, way back, it could also go on a Wendigo turret. The Wendigo turret actually does some shockwave damage. I think it's 5,000 shockwave damage, not too much. But then you'd have it going up to 6,000 and with a 3-time supercharge. So could be interesting.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, saying that, I think everybody, I don't know how many have and how many haven't, but I think most people are taking the Wendigo out of their base, haven't they?
Well, at the top level of the game, certainly. But perhaps some mid-level players have a Wendigo, and it's a decent turret for a mid-level. I mean, it won't stop at tier 6, probably, Conqueror. But if you think about it, it shockwaves often, and 6,000 damage can actually wreak some havoc on against like any hull with low radioactive deflection.
Yeah, fair point. And a lot of people are obviously thinking about taking off the rad plating now, because obviously the V Pride, which is giving you some its inherent rad, isn't it, across the fleet? So they're changing it now to pen plating instead, aren't they? So this turret and special may make them think again. I don't know.
Well, but I mean, like other hulls, if you're using survivors or if you're using liberators, you still need the red plate. If you don't have the red plate, this guy's going to toast your fleet.
Yeah. We're missing some rad, capability in our bases for some time, haven't we, to be honest? The old launcher turrets are quite old now that are there. So,
well, the ones used for utility, it's just when you have 50% turret defense in every Conqueror hull, or you're doing it wrong, and you have the option to add radioactive deflection in multiples of 5,000, and usually you can get that to about 15, 20,000. It's a little hard for launchers to survive and to thrive in that environment.
Yeah.
But
Survive particularly.
we'll see, right? I mean, we'll look at the new turret soon, but you look at its damage, and then if we apply bonus from that special, damage bonus from a different special, and if you pick the River faction, and then you apply fire support, it might actually get really interesting.
I was just wondering that. So just go on the base value of 5. I mean, that's the best people can do. Generally, it's 5 fire supports, isn't it? Is the general thing. So if we say 5,
5 is kind of easy to stack, yeah.
Yeah. So 5 is. Let's think of 5, and let's think of changing a faction then, so it actually supports this. So let's have a quick look at the turret, and we'll see what it has to say for itself. Here we go. So I had to stretch the pitch a little bit because there was a bit more information in there than what fit on a straight pitch.
Is it my impression, or is that just a Wendigo with a paint job?
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a cop-out, but it does look like a Wendigo with a paint job, doesn't it? And that cartoonized sort of picture of one as well. It's very crudely drawn, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's River. So
it's, yeah, but okay, the wires are hanging out basically on one turret and one piece. Yeah, so it's very similar. But then, I don't know. So anyway, looking at the power consumption, 8.6. Okay, accuracy is 90%, so it's not a foolproof. But then again, the way these things work, they're a little bit different, aren't they? Because they look at obviously the shock and the boom effect is the thing. But only 90% accuracy is on there. Range 200, so that's good.
Yep.
So you can hide this thing away quite nicely. You can feed all your channel, which is I like. So there we go. Damage, reload time of 5. Now we had a reload. Let me just go back quickly if I can remember it. So reload was a 40% bonus on there then. So that cuts it down to what, 3 seconds, something like that?
3.57 seconds.
Check you. Like you're all over this sort of stuff, aren't you? Okay. So
I knew you were going to ask the question before you asked it. So let's do this.
Yeah. No. If you add 5 fire support on warehouses, then you're getting a big reload buff from fire support as well.
So this thing is going to be pretty awesome actually at that. And it just depends if 17K, and then let's just think about it. So we've got, but it's the shockwave damage, not the actual.
No, there's nothing there buffing the damage of the
actual damage. So yeah, so damage is 17, but then shockwave damage plus there's 25K's worth straight away. And then obviously you're getting the boost on top of that again.
Now we have older specials that could go in there to help you with damage.
And accuracy.
Yes.
Very much so, actually, yes.
Mostly accuracy. I'm just concerned about the salvo. The salvo count of 5. That's 17,000 damage, and whatever you get is going to be divided across 5 pellets. And then again, as is one of the common problems with launchers, we don't know how many hits you have to do to get a boom off.
The number of tanks, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
And how many turrets are you going to have to swap out to this to reliably get a boom? And
well, however many you do, you should probably keep them close so they fire at the same time and they stack faster, because some holes are unreactive, right?
And make sure they don't get pinched.
If you're against a Liberator, you're sunk.
Yeah, you're probably
that
right.
has unreactive.
Yeah. Doesn't mean they won't take damage, but they will take. Yeah, they won't get the shock boom so easy with it. So yeah. Anyway, not to worry. Do you know what though? It's all right. The range of the fire field again there at 24, so that's not too bad. That's sort of a channel, isn't it? So that's half your channel anyway. Resonance tree, yeah. Radioactive field minus 306. Okay, 5 field chance, only 20%. Okay. I don't know. It's just another. It's another pink thing. I still don't think it's as nice as the new Emancipator turret. I think that's a better turret personally for the fleet we got at the moment, but.
Yeah, I forgot what's the name of that greenish nuclear cloud, like mushroom cloud special. That one increases damage by quite a lot. Atomic focus, plus 35% damage.
Mm. Yeah, that could help.
And all that accuracy. All that.
So you gain a lot of 35% extra radioactive damage from that. Then you stack a bunch of fire support. Then you stack river faction. You know. Mm-hmm. Now I have a question for you guys. All that bonus applies on the damage, like the base weapon damage. Does all that apply to the shockwave damage as well?
Well,
that I don't know.
That I don't know. I have to say, it's been so long since I've played with launches. I must admit.
Yeah. So my question is simply, I mean, if I put atomic focus and again plus 35% radioactive damage, is that going to be 25,000 shockwave damage times 1.35?
I think it's a 17 times 1.35 personally.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's yeah, I'm just wondering the shockwave damage. I don't know.
Because the shockwave damage should be radioactive, the same as the turret. I would think that you would, and you have 25 times 1.35.
Right. And you got to remember also that radioactive plates, they have a pretty high minimum damage value. So if you have enough of these pellets firing at a range of 200, it might actually, it will do damage over time if they just keep firing.
Well, put it this way, they're not going to sit still, are they?
No.
200 is a good range, isn't it? So anybody that's going around the outside trying to sneak you with some of the holes.
No, the V-Pride kind of nullifies. If you're hitting with prides, the V-Pride will nullify that gain, but any other Conqueror will feel the pain unless they have a high base radioactive deflection.
No, absolutely.
Such as the Spite, was as an old example.
Yeah, Spite was a good old hole actually for it. Yeah, I must agree. Yeah, that is a cracking hole. I'm just trying to think of other sort of.
A lot of the remote targeting holes tend not to have radioactive deflection inherent. I don't remember about the Sloth, but the Oppressor doesn't.
No, I don't think they do.
I think one of the problems is you're going to either be firing at the closest thing or the most hurt thing, which is going to be the tank instead of out there. But if you can...
Well, you can always use priority targeting on it.
But that's the lowest health ship. That's still going to hit the tank in the front unless they have a lot of armor on their front tank. Then you'll start hitting the back line. So,
Vendetta's got 9,000 on it.
I mean, let's say you put a Sloth.
Sloth's got nothing.
Sloth is a bad example, but the Oppressor in there. You know, it's high base damage, but people usually don't put any armor on it, and they put a lot of armor on the tank.
Well, there's no radioactive protection on the slot on the Oppressor or the Sloth. There is.
I mean, it's part of the puzzle, right? It's a new tool we get to put in our box and see if and how we need that in our base. It's interesting.
No, I agree. I agree. It's yeah. So yeah. So if you are thinking about things to chuck around the outside, then Vendetta is looking like the only thing that if you put three. What happens if you put 3 rad plates on a Vendetta? What's that? Bear in mind, you got to think about.
The one detail is this turret produces fire fields, and the fire fields trigger resonance, which means when the attacker sails through the fields, I mean, they will take some damage, but they also gain more speed and more damage.
Yeah, they gain more damage. Yeah, so you can that inadvertently people make that mistake sometimes when they trigger the attacker's resonance field, and then he gets his extra bonuses. So you can get the Vendetta up to deflection of 24k by just adding 3 plates, which is pretty decent, isn't it? That almost matches, then, doesn't it? The well, more than the damage, doesn't it? It more than nullifies the damage. So you definitely have to boost this thing up if you want it. I mean, that's an example hull, but
I mean, and 50% turret defense.
Oh yes, on top of that, yeah, of course, good thinking.
Important.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, it is. So actually, you wouldn't have probably to go 3 plates. Depends on how, like say, depends on how many turrets you stack and all this sort of stuff. And it's the shockwave effect, isn't it? And getting the charge up and that sort of stuff. So it's been a while since we've used these. Right, cool. Okay, so there we go. So that's the launcher. That was the special and that sort of stuff. Let's go on to I think the most important bit now, which is going to be a bit of a.
So
chat.
has anyone tried the TLC already? I haven't.
I've seen something on the page, and there's some pictures up on our page for us. So someone's been able to have a look.
People are saying it's fun. So
it's
levels 1 and 2 are the special and the turret. So I would say most players should probably try their best to get those 2, even if they don't go for the hull.
Yeah, no. Feedback is so far from what I'm seeing is it's definitely it's amusing people. I wouldn't say it's hard, but they are saying that you can do it with various different fleets. So although it does say the icebreaker is the go-to fleet for this one particularly, I've seen people that have already said they're doing it with Empyreans and they're also doing it with monos and that sort of stuff. So. But I don't know about the other bit because I haven't touched it myself yet. I haven't had a quick look, so I was doing the slides. Right, here we go. Here's the top prize then. So this is the new T6 hull. Okay, it is a launcher hull. As of yet, there is no launcher that's come out with it. So I take it it's using the.
There won't be, right?
There shouldn't be. I don't think there should be because I know the D98 is pretty decent, isn't it? And it was just offered, wasn't it, in that last TLC, the icebreaker one?
Oh, it's and more than that. I mean, this hull is part of the Rivals series. None of the Rivals came with a weapon or a special. It's just the hull, and you use the specials and weapons already in game. So that's part of the Rivals series. Like it's just a standalone hull.
In fact, no, did I get that wrong? I don't think it was in the icebreaker one. It was in the other one, wasn't it? Where you got the malices and that sort of stuff, wasn't it? In there.
Yep,
Implements of War.
Implements of War.
So that was in the easier. Well, hark at me. Okay, for my level, yeah. But okay, so the easier of the 2 campaigns, it was in that one. So most people that could do that will have the right weapon for this ship.
Anyone should be able to beat that. I mean, I beat that with Revenges and Vendettas.
Yeah.
And this the blank hull build time is almost 2 days, 3 hours if you have an officer and R&D 30. So that's probably about 2 days 9, 2 days 10 without anything. So
wow.
It's pretty good.
That is decent, isn't it, actually? Yeah, it's good. So unlike we'll talk about the complications of the Phoenix, I think we'll look at the other bits and bobs first. So armor points, it's already got built-in inherent. There's 125. Ranking, this is going to be fun, to say the least.
Yeah.
So 125, we're up 25 already. Then this is for an attacking ship. I think this is the biggest one, isn't it?
But I think the oppressor has the same, I believe.
No, they're all having a 125 armor points basically.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. I think 2 or 3 more with 125.
I'll play ignorance because I don't generally look at it. I must admit, I just go and rank them and just get it over and done with. But inherently, so we've got splash, which is probably going to help with. That should help with the boom, shouldn't it, as well? But radioactive reloads, 50% built in already, and the damage at 50% built in already, and we got that obviously, like the other Conqueror hull as well. You've got the range boost of 10%, which is quite decent. Yeah, again though, another hull, unless it's in the special abilities. Let's have a quick look down here. Penetrative deflection. So it's in blood first, but that's only where it is. So there's nothing there for stacking up ships, unless you can see. No, I can't see it in the Berserker bit, and I can't see it in special abilities. It's only in blood first.
No,
so
it's there. It's for stacking.
It's just in the blood first piece.
Special abilities. I mean, there's a duplicate aura of 5.
Yeah.
You get more super.
So, for instance, when you have 5 incinerators, you add 1,000 explosive deflection per incinerator in the fleet, so you get to 5,000 for all of them, right? Slow and stun resistance, each one's adds 10%. If you get a fleet of 5, you get 50% total for all the hulls.
So it's not multiplicative, then it's additive, is it?
Not sure about.
Yeah, the slow and stun, I mean, you shouldn't be able to go over 100% because of resistance. But I mean, just simplifying.
If they were able to go over 100%, I think a few of those Apollos and such and Harlock's Alpha Behemoths that we built would not be getting stunned at all. It shows it's additive in game, but it's been multiplicative in practice.
Yeah, that's my thought as well.
That's one of those old bugs that never gets fixed.
Yeah. But do you know what? There's a couple of things here I'm looking at now. So ballistic deflection, which is nice. I mean, that's a big pump there. Corrosive, pretty decent as well. Concussive, we only know that Calamity is the one for digging out the concussive stuff. So bear that in mind when you're going past some of those static holes, that some people will slap a few of those on and then boost the concussive damage. So just bear that in mind. Map speed, yeah, blur, whatever. Okay, but combat speed 20, but turn speed's nice. Turn speed, even for a flat hole that's not ranked at all, is already 40. So these things will spin on a dime. And normally you run into a launcher, don't you? Stop, pause, dial, disco around a little bit, and wait until you've blown up the turret or the ship and that sort of stuff. So,
yeah. But what's really cool, I found really cool about this hull is the Berserk. The Berserk should stay active pretty much for the entire duration of the battle when you look at it, because it triggers every 2,500 armor points. The hull has 125,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so it can trigger 50 times, 40 times.
Yeah.
And it's going to trigger real fast because... And the duration is 10 seconds, so before one wanes, the next one will be triggered already.
It's going to overlap, isn't it? Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, they don't stack, but what I'm saying is it's going to stay berserked, if that's a word, non-stop.
I posit that someone missed a 0.
So basically, this thing is just going to be it's going to be a light show.
I don't know if somebody missed a 0, but the way it is just going to be berserked 100% of the time.
Yeah, yes. They can't miss. Yeah, this is 20,500, but I doubt it. But yeah,
no, 25,000.
25. What? Put commas
no,
in
it doesn't say 25,000. It says 25,000.
No, it doesn't say 25,000. I'm thinking maybe they intended for it to be 25,000.
That's four booms.
Because the Spite had overloaded, but it was like 17,005, and it had 75,000 armor points.
Yeah. Anyway, the point I'm trying to drive, the point I'm trying to drive is, so the hull in the attack block has 50% radioactive damage buff. On the Berserk, he gains another 10, so that's 60. And on the Bloodthirst, he gets another 50, so that's 110% radioactive bonus, damage bonus, before you add any special.
Yeah. But I do also like that this thing has got slow resistance and stun resistance built in as well per ship as well. That's in the special abilities, so that's nice. Add agility.
Now let me ask you: would you build this guy with launchers or would you build this guy with throwers?
There's not many defense ships that like throwers, is there?
Nope.
And there's some really good throwers out there at the moment. And
the throwers have like this massive splash.
Yeah,
right.
Huge.
So
if I make, I think they're different for different things. If I want to hit turrets, I'm building it with launchers. If I want to hit ships, I'm building it with throwers.
Yeah, because I don't remember the base building damage of the throwers. It might be very low. I don't know.
Most of them are for conquerors and defenders, but there was a Tephra thrower out a while back. Let me see if I can.
But Reds people been using it for for prep.
Yeah, and I mean it's just a brand new. I'm not trying to get you a build here. Just throwing ideas out there, right?
But the charge fleet has always been there. The charge fleet has been a case of chucking on launchers anyway. But this one could be. Yeah,
well, I'm asking about the throwers because I see that on the attack block I see plus 50% splash. That to me tells something. Tells me that the guys at Kixeye must have tested this guy with throwers.
8,500 building damage on a Tephra thrower, over 15 salvo with a reload of looks like 8 seconds.
8,500 per thrower is not bad at all.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Right? And I mean, you get 8,500 times, times 110% damage bonus here. And with 50% splash in the hull. And now if you add the reload, you get 50% base reload. And on the Bloodthirst, you get another 50% reload. I'm like, wow. The numbers are impressive. The attack numbers.
I mean, there's the Plutonium throw as well. That's another one as well, isn't it? There's a couple of them, basically. Although, actually, the Tephra is lighter, isn't it, as well?
Yep.
Reload's the same. Splash is much better.
Oh God! You can put that.
You can put that
thrower
special. Yeah, you can.
The
Polonium thing.
accelerator. Oh,
Yeah.
we're doing it.
That's
Let's
what I'm
go.
thinking.
This would make a brilliant one for prepping out fleets, I have to say. Well, it's, as you just said, Ren, it's good fun. So don't put any armor at all. Hopefully you can avoid anybody coming in and hitting you with lots and lots of obviously missiles and that sort of stuff. And actually you can go and wreck stuff, which is good fun. It's a shame Stu's not here. You'd like to say that. That's good. Well, it's a good ad. I mean, yeah. For all those,
you know, like I'm inclined, if I'm to build this guy, to take a look at a thrower build before I go down a launcher build, because I mean, launcher builds are very well known how they work, but the thrower would be intriguing.
Yeah, you have to look at all the defender holes and what their capabilities are against the throwers and that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, again, you know, if you were a prep fleet of these, and there shouldn't be a flagship, so you know, you can chuck these in, and it's 2.5 hours to fix them. So
yeah, and throwers are all. I mean, throwers against the defenders are not about can they overcome the deflection, or it's more about how many hundreds of salvos are you going to be firing every few seconds that you can do minimum damage with. Right? So that's usually how you kill with throwers. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
yeah. No, I like it. It's going to be very quick, because look at that combat speed plus 30% as well when it goes into its berserk. And like you said, that's going to be.
I mean, you put the engine, you get like 85%, the speed 85% or so. So you're already like at 35 or
Combat
so, and
speed
then
is
you
20.
add 30%, and you're going to be like close to 50.
Yeah, combat base speed 20. I'm just trying to find something that's compatible with that. So that's close enough. So the oppressor is combat base speed of 21. So that's oh no, it's 23.
But it doesn't have the berserk.
No, it doesn't. So the vendetta, in fact, the vendetta is, sorry, not the thing is. I'm just thinking. So if we just added a speed system 5 to that, that gives you combat speed 39.2.
So just FYI, the main weakness of this hull overall is ballistic. For all the defenders looking into it, I mean, it doesn't have any way, shape, or form of ballistic deflection. No. So if your base has a few immensity, I'm sorry, it has 20,000 there. I missed that.
Yeah, so it's still pen. Pen is still the thing, I think. Penetrative.
Yeah, 4,000 pen is nothing nowadays.
It's not enough.
It's nothing, you're right. Yeah.
Because I've seen some pretty nasty hyenas there. We've got some fire support around them that
Talon liberators.
Yeah, talons. Yeah.
Sorry.
You can put talons on some things in your base. I've seen people put them on judgments and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, it's a thing for the toolbox. So that's good. So obviously it says repair duration 30 minutes. Obviously when you got your officer on, you obviously got your R&D squared away and that sort of stuff, and a few bits and bobs. Then actually, as long as you don't arm the thing, you could charge it in a couple of times, and it's 4 or 5 coins, and charge it in again.
Yeah, even if you put 3 average armor plates, you're gonna add an hour and a half, so it's 2 hours minus bonuses from R&D and officers. It's probably still repairs, even loaded with armor, probably repairs in an hour and a half, thereabouts. It's not too bad. I mean, for a Conquer fleet, fleet of 5 would still be repairing in a reasonable time, like as you sleep.
Yeah, for some guys, it's an option still, isn't it? So it's you know, my days of that are well over. But for some guys, yeah, they'll just crash it and then send it in again and send it in again, send it again, and then get a main fleet. So yeah, it's I'm sure they'll play with it. We'll see plenty of videos, I'm sure. But yeah, so it's another tool of the toolbox, which is good. Right, shall we move on? So that's obviously the Hunger TLC. Like I say, it's all about the garrison stuff and a bit of PvP. You know, every level will have a base in it. By the way, there's only one in the first level, and then it goes on from there. Right.
Yeah, 4 and 6 are bases.
4 and 6. Okie dokie. So this popped up today as well, which is interesting. I think it's just another way of letting us prep for the next month, to be honest. But anyway, so it's
good actually, right? I mean, everyone has a chance to try and get good and drive around and make mistakes.
There's a couple of things that make me amused in this. So yes, there's some very good stuff. Okay, but basically what it's saying is then, obviously it's out for a couple of days, so it's not out for very long. So pop in, if you haven't even looked at one so far, at least go and have a look at one. Because if you weren't ranking ships over the weekend, then why would you go and pop in the 100? So at least drop a gunboat in this and go and have a laugh. You know, so at least you can see it and trigger a couple of ships and see what happens. But it's interesting. It says that it's a tier 7, which it is, so it's the S target and that sort of stuff. It shouldn't be, in fact, it isn't any different because I've already had a look at one. It's out for basically, it's more than 40 hours. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, it's just over that, in fact, isn't it? Yeah, because it finishes obviously at midnight on the Friday. And whilst he said yet again similar to, I didn't see anything different. So they keep saying similar. Maybe they haven't finalized the target then for the actual raid.
Well, I think they gotta leave the similar in there because of the lawyers, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's similar. I mean, it gives them the freedom, although the TOS of the game already gives them the freedom to change whatever they want whenever the fuck they want. I mean, leaving the similar in there gives them the leeway to say, hey, we said it's similar, not identical. So stop bitching.
So whilst it's nice to go and have a look, and what I'm saying chucking that gunboat, if you've not seen this before, is point B. Okay, no retreat. No retreat. Bear that in mind, okay? I'll say it again. No retreat. Yeah. So if you've just about middle of doing your FM and you're going to throw something in there like a set of Apollos with a flagship Apollo and that sort of stuff, and then you lose it, you'll be an upset bunny, okay? Because...
well, we have three options. I mean, it's do or die or timeout.
Yeah, very much so. It's do, die, or timeout. Now, you can... If you haven't triggered those ships, you can go to the corner and just sit it out. It won't do you any harm whatsoever. But as soon as you've triggered something, then they'll come hunting you down.
I'm annoyed as hell by no retreating because it happened to me before, and maybe it's because I'm getting old, but clicking the wrong target on map and only realizing after it gets red, and then I want to retreat to go to the right target, and you can't.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in this instance, it is a nav relay. You have to be pretty sleepy to click on a nav relay and not realize it's a nav relay.
No, the way things are on top of each other on map, like my TLC turret near my base,
yeah,
it's overlapping with my neighbor's gantry.
Oh, that's not very helpful. Well, these are at the dubs, aren't they? So these aren't too bad. Or direct uranium bases, I think they're out on there, sort of stuff. So I've seen a couple in the sector anyway. But anyway,
I like the prizes though.
So yeah, we'll talk about that. So the prize for completing the whole thing, which is obviously in, I don't know if to do it in one hit or whether you go back in, it's still damaged. In fact, no, yes, you do. You can go back in and it's as damaged as you left it. Because I did see somebody on our page has already done that a couple of times. Basically, it says then that you're going to get then a treasure chest. You go in, you don't get a notification, by the way, or not every time, but you get a treasure chest. You go back into your base, and then basically you've got a chance to loot a different sort of thing. Now, it's interesting they said the best ship for this is the Phoenix. Okay. Yeah, I get that. And then it gives you Phoenix bits as well as one of the chances to get something, including tokens to build the Phoenix and that sort of stuff. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No,
Rue, what are your thoughts?
It only gives you Phoenix VXP tokens to rank it.
But it gives you ship build tokens as well.
No, ship build tokens only for the
Justice of the Saga's Pride. Oh, well, that's not too bad in some respects, because those were two of the, a lot of people have been building Phoenixes and obviously...
Yeah, those are the two I'm not building because I'm busy building Phoenixes, so it makes sense.
Although you got to stop your dock, stop your shipyard, then start building the Justice and then use the tokens, then hopefully better finish it off and go back to doing your Phoenixes. But interesting that there was things in there for the super hull shards. I'm not really sure everyone wants those anymore, but
who cares? Now, there's something wrong on that slide because Hellwraith is not a super hull. It's probably Hellstar.
It's probably Hellstar. That's a typo, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, I've just copied and pasted from bits and bobs. I've chopped things down a little bit, but I didn't look at that bit. I'll change that then to the... It's got to be Hellstar. You're right. I'll change that before I upload the onto the page.
Yeah. And you can get titanium.
Apparently so.
And I heard you can get twice the amount. You know what that means?
Go on.
Double tits.
You child. I can feel Rue rolling her eyes now. Okie dokie. Right. Has anybody actually had a look at this yet? Robin, have you had a look at it at all? Has anybody in your alliance had a look at it?
No, not yet personally. I am about to log on there and do it. I have heard from some people that they enjoyed them. There were some that were using naughty words. So it seems to be, mixed. I think it's a good idea to be able to go out and test what's out there and test fleets that I've been finishing since the VXP weekend.
Yeah, I might actually, as soon as we finish this, I might log off and then stream one quickly and that sort of stuff and see if we can have a bit of a play, just for a bit of laugh. And I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, I can't quite make my mind up yet. We'll make a decision on that. So anyway, yeah, it's up there. Enjoy it and that sort of stuff for those that want to take part. I don't think you should be wasting your time taking a full set of a fleet of Apollos in there, especially if you haven't done anything to them. You're just going to end up with a big fix.
Oh yeah, my Apollos, like the way I haven't changed them barely anything from last year. So they were built to fight the Legion Mega Hulls. In that target, they got vaporized by the first wave of drones. I mean, I didn't even see their health bar going from green to red. They were just gone.
I was going to say, if you saw my stream that I did right back when we did the first one, then I took out that set, and I know the guys from BV did the same things. He took a set of Apollos in, as I did, with the flag in front, and yeah, got stunned. They lost their obviously full propulsion speed, and then basically one of those drones jumped up behind it and annihilated it in one volley. Yeah. There was no bar. All 5 ships gone in a nanosecond. So, yeah.
Now, on the other hand, people who refitted their Apollos properly for this cycle, like some people did put talons on the Apollos and more corrosive armor and agility system 4. You know, pretty much the way you would do a Phoenix -1 special. But some people refit the Apollos like that and were able to kill the target.
Yeah, very true. No, very true.
So I don't want to write off the Apollo. It's just that to me it sounds weird to get all the new stuff and put that on a year-old ship. But if that's the best ship you have, hey, it's a plan. As long as it works, it's a plan.
Yeah. Is this where I jump in with speculative math?
Yes, please.
Well, yeah. No, long-time watchers may know that I made a giant spreadsheet about citadels and Empyreans and monoliths. I made a different sheet. It's not completely done. I'm not really happy with it, so you don't see it yet. But basically, a Talon Apollo with the flagship is going to outperform a Talon Phoenix in terms of damage. It has better defenses, it has a much quicker fix time, and it has a quicker build time. So if you have the Talon missile, and somehow if you don't have the Phoenix, and you have a Zoe's Apollo built, the numbers are very comparable, and in some cases they're even a little better in terms of the older tech. So, and in addition, you probably already have the Apollos themselves built and some of the specials on, so it's even quicker to refit. Now, if you have Phoenixes, I feel like that's still going to be the way to go, because as we've seen previously, they do like to make sure that the hull that they push as the skill hull, which is the Phoenix, is better. But hopefully this means that if you have Apollos and not Phoenixes, that you won't be left in the dust for this raid set. Okay.
Okie doke.
So Brian, I mean, what are you recommending? I mean, right now, if you could build, if you had these options, what would you build?
Skyfire. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Threw you that tangent.
What is history? Okay. The numbers right now recommend the Apollo, but that's with the flagship, and the Phoenix doesn't have theirs yet, so it's a bit of an unfair comparison. I'd recommend the Phoenix because I think it's going to see substantial changes that will make it better. Maybe not to the degree of monoliths, because they were way worse than what we currently had, but also the Phoenixes don't have their flagship yet. If you feel like you're confident in your ability in the raid cycle, because we don't have the flagship yet, the first raid cycle cannot be tuned for that. Cannot. If they do, they're idiots. So if you get a few Phoenixes out and done, you should do just fine. Get the Talon Phoenix and just keep that snowball rolling of getting better and better in the assault cycle.
All right.
Okay, so this is probably a good time to talk about. In fact, we haven't got to build time reductions yet. We'll do that then. Actually, we'll cover that. Sorry. I was just thinking. So we've had about the FM and that sort of stuff, and targets and changes and that sort of stuff. So Robin, you just put, what is it you just posted up there? Real quick look.
It's a change that was announced by Doom Rooster that was in the forum. Somebody had just posted it on the page, and I found the link. Jeff got it for us. Basically, what they're saying is they're currently taking a close look at the difficulty of the 113 targets, as we believe it's underperforming to the current expectation within the difficulty curve. Expects changes to this target in the coming weeks. So I'm reading that as things are going to get harder and maybe more painful. So there is a post for it on the forum, and there is also a post on the TFC page about it.
Do you remember they did that in the 87s? And then they came out and then they changed them.
Well, and the 60s mines, remember those?
Yeah. I would like them to say, leave the 113s alone and then tune down the 103s. Because the 103s are overpowered for what they are, for what they pay out. They're far too difficult.
They are very
I had
overpowered.
a blast last night in the 113s. I was running late on my weekly and had like 40 minutes, and I did both levels of the weekly in that 40 minutes with one fleet without stopping to repair. And that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be a 3-day slog. It shouldn't be do 2 targets, repair 4 hours, come back, do 2 targets kind of thing. And so I'm a little disappointed with this, because I actually thought that the targets were tuned. I had enough damage to, it wasn't like it was free, but it allowed me to get my weekly done quickly and not have to keep coming back. So I'm not happy to hear of this change.
No, the other thing I want to bring up basically is, and I've posted on this page before. Okay, and so there was a issue with obviously the number of targets, or people thought there was an issue with the number of targets spawning near your location. So if you were like going and hitting a 113, and then all of a sudden you hit it and it would die, obviously because you completed it, then you assumed that straight away a 103 popped up in its place. This week that isn't the case. There's a 50-50 chance after every target pops of either one or the other popping up. If the tile space is there, it's available. But the point is, as we've already said, at the moment the 103 is harder than the 113, so everyone's going for the 113s, and then if there's only a 50% chance of another 113 coming up, it's ever decreasing circles again. If you understand.
It was like that way. It was like that way last week too. I'd kill a 113, and sometimes I get a 113, and sometimes I'd get a 103. The problem is, why you see so many 103s is nobody wants to do them because they're too hard. Yeah. They're a quarter of the points of 103 on a tour that is necessary to complete twice a week, every week, in order to keep up, and on something that we're not going to get better tech for anymore. We're not going to get a better ship. We're not going to get a better motor. We're not going to get better armor specials. Our top tech is right here, and you set that bar for us now. And to move the difficulty up like that afterward is just rude. I know there's a lot of there's videos and such on the page, but those are people that sunk many months of time of builds and refits and got the very best tech retroed out as best they can. They are the top players, and they deserve to have some sort of reward, and that reward should be the ability to do their chores easy, even if they have to use some skillful driving, because I guess we've gotten away from autoing these targets based on some of the ranges of the turrets. So it just throw the top players a bone, especially in this. This is the one area of the game where you need people to be able to succeed. If you can't do the FM, you probably should just stop, because you're not going to get anywhere. And if they keep making things harder, they're going to push people away, especially new and emerging players. And that's, well, they're already kind of bad with new players and information, but it's a bad sign, and I don't like it.
Well, I think the other thing too is that, there was concerns with the 109s about people rimming them and everybody getting upset about them. So then they changed these targets, they changed the points out. So now in order to get the bulk of the points, you need to go in and do the center. And it's like, so we're doing all of this.
Great.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with that. Don't get me wrong. I like that. And, I've seen much less of people going in and picking and doing little bits of targets and stuff. But you have to make the 103s doable, and you have to adjust that, because people just don't have time to sit there and grind 87s or 80s or whatever the numbers are now. They don't have time to do it. And so if the 103 is prohibitive and they can't get very many points from the 113, people are just going to stop doing the weekly.
Yeah, because they're down to the 87. Then the 87 is what, 9.9 thousand?
Yeah, I mean, trying to get 350 million with that. Oh my God,
well,
please.
I did do it. I have to say, I did it for somebody else, helping them out as well, and that sort of stuff. And basically, it was, but that was with icebreakers, and that was just blasting through, then instant fixing, and that was the only fleet I think that could probably do it quickly and ergonomically. And but it still took me an hour, an hour just to do, and that was a grind, to say the least.
Yeah,
It's frustrating.
So, we want to keep the mid levels in the game. We want them to progress. We want them to stay and grow and get better. And making the weekly, which is underline exclamation point, the most important part of the game, making that prohibitive is people are just going to stop and you're not going to get new people in. And so I think Kix needs to rethink that piece of it. Now, I'm not saying make the 103s worth 50 million or your 200 million points, that kind of stuff. I'm saying gauge that to where it gives them the opportunity to do it. Doesn't necessarily get people who are higher, quick and easy points. So in the old days, a la the 27s, where people just sent out 700 fleets of Seawolves, but they have to make it to where it's an incentive for people to reach higher and get higher than they can and try higher than they can. And just taking a fleet in and dying instantly and being able to get a very small amount of points, people are never going to build towards that.
I would just say caution on the word higher, because level doesn't mean anything. I think people with the appropriate fleet that have spent the money, as Brian stated, should now be able to reap the benefits of building that fleet, adjusting that fleet, spending the money early and wisely, and then reaping the benefits of having an easier time. And let's be honest, if Stu is here now, if he's having an easier time than the FM, he would then go and do something different instead. Probably.
Yeah, no, I understand about the level, but that's kind of like the benchmark that everybody uses. But a player with maybe not the best tech or the highest tech, who has the Empyreans or something like that, they should still be able to get a good chunk of points without having to spend 4 days grinding.
No, agree to you. At least the one tier down, at the very least, that one tier down from the top tier, But most people need to be able to get to that tier 5. Otherwise, you're never going to catch up, are you? That's the issue. And to be honest, I got a funny thing. And those that have noted that Monster basically isn't obviously on the TFC anymore and that sort of stuff. And I think he's in the situation himself. I think he basically just understood then that he could never get back to tier 5. It wasn't that he couldn't. He could call his way back up to tier 5, but even it was going to take him 9 months. I think it was, because he didn't have anything by the time he came back. And I think he clocked that actually, in 9 months, so much changes that it would be a different game again, and he wasn't prepared to put that time in to do that, and I don't blame him either, to be honest. So that's the game's lost another good player, which is a shame.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week about dropping things down or even removing things or putting some things in the foundry or something, but getting that, just as you said, that 9 months out of it, because it should not be that long. And it didn't used to be for tier 5. It didn't used to be when it started, and we've done add. And I think I know of 2 occasions where they moved maybe 3 or 4 things down to tier 4, but they need to clean out some of the older stuff and move that down.
Yeah, I don't think.
And I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I mean, at least I hope it will. I know there have been discussions.
Yeah, it needs to happen.
Slimming down tier 5 big time. I just hope to see that like as soon as possible, because we did the math. I mean, and if you were to start tier 5 today, I think it takes between 9 and 10 months to get caught up to the point where you get tokens.
Yeah, and it's restricted. Somebody had the idea, I don't remember who it was, I wish I could credit them for it, but the ability to, if we can't slim down tier 5, then allow a quadruple run, so that instead of taking 10 months to get it, we could cut that time. If somebody wants to do a couple of extra runs a week to get those, and not talking tokens, but only to clear out those prizes, then yeah, and I think that's a really good idea, because if someone is willing to put the effort in, they do want to get better in the game, they do want to get that better technology, then by all means give them the opportunity to do that, or we have to shorten it, because 10 months to get up to the top and get tokens, I just think is a little too long.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Right, I think we'll carry on, I think, to this. We'll just let things catch up there. Right, so that's the nav relay situation. Okay, and like I said, it is an example of obviously the S target for the next raid format, and they do suggest that you go in there with a very strong fleet. Once you're in, and enjoy the life while it lasts. If you do manage to do it in one fleet, move on to something else because you're sorted. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes anyway. Right, next. So just to confirm then, FM target transition, which is what we're going to talk about. Obviously, it's been started. We're nearly at the tail end of it now. Okay, so we are at the bit that are highlighted green. Don't need to talk about the rest of it because that's all past tense. So we're on the second part of the green piece there, which is obviously the 28th. So that's the respawn and then changes then of the a duplicate of the 40s to 87s. Okay, there are some new numbers out there, as you know. People have seen different numbers, that sort of stuff. But next week, all your targets are gone. That's it. You've had it. So that is this week is your last chance. Brian, yeah, go.
No, it's
all right, you're just raising your hand. Oh, gone as in poof, gone. Yes. Okay. So just to bear that in mind then. So that is it, our last chance. So yeah, it's a shame. The old 87 was a good little target, or it ends up being a good little target to go and finish off and get some good points, especially for my lower levels as well. They quite enjoyed the 87, but they'll have to fight through and get some of the newer ones now. Right. Here's a good piece, which we'll talk about what this is, but the implications of what's happening here. So I like it. The following components have had their build times reduced based on your feedback. Oh, wasn't there ever some feedback? Okay. So I'm not saying there is basically player pressure, but there's definitely community pressure, and it's all pages, by the way. It's not just the TFC and that sort of stuff. Okay, collectively.
But we do it better than everyone else. Let's face it.
Okay. Look, we've done our part. Others have done their part and that sort of stuff. And then obviously Ren goes into town hall as does Stu and that sort of stuff, and they've done their part as well. But look, within a week or so, they've listened and they have responded. So some of the key components that you might be thinking about, okay, particularly when you notice that the charge armor versus the standard armor wasn't that much different. Some key components there now have got some reasonable reductions in their build time capability. Now, I'm not going to read them because you can read them out yourselves, but what it does actually impact on, there's two positives here. We looked at a couple of builds quickly today, and on average, it's somewhere between 3 days and 5.5 days per ship. So up to 20 days off of 4 ships, which is phenomenal. So
which is a ship.
Which is a full, yeah. So basically, you should. Now I'm up for. I've just got my 2-day tokens, obviously from Tier 4. This time I've finished my FM and that sort of stuff. So already now I'm in a position. I know I'm going to be in a position already now that by the raid I'll have 3 ships done, definitely, without having to coin a damn thing.
Yeah, I'll be able to have 4 because I had tokens saved from last FM before raid and blah blah blah. So yeah, I think now I'm confident I'll be able to have 4 fully built ships. I'm not sure. Well, with all the armors, I'm not even sure I want to put all the 4 armors, but I'll have them ready enough.
I'm pausing on maybe I think a couple of bits there. Now, bear in mind then, it is nice to see the reduction of like 22 hours for a start from D5M. That's nice. But bear in mind, that's a great reduction in the build time. It's fantastic. But obviously, it adds to repair time over a charge and that sort of stuff. So just tailor that and that sort of stuff. Okay, it's no lighter or anything. It's just the build time is less and that stuff, which means the takeoff time. If you were thinking about, some of the other ships and that sort of stuff, and, we said, remember the problem we had with the monos where you're taking off a standard and putting on a charge and vice versa? This would also help with some of that if you're going from one to the other sort of stuff. It's nice that Siege Battery has come down. It's still not of the same level, obviously, as the Battery X. But what is nicer is obviously Siege Battery, once it's retrofitted, it does about 12% more building damage. Which helps 12% on a ship and across 4 ships, that sort of stuff. Obviously, that is going to help. You don't get any better turret defense, but you do get a bit more power if you've retroed it. So I think it's about 12%.
People were building garrison batteries instead, anyways, just to save the time. Many people were opting for that, and now I think that you don't need to do that.
It's about 6 hours, I think, still from
quote-unquote aberration anymore because it's not worth it, right? I mean, the extra, like I said, the extra 12% building damage you get. Definitely worth a few extra hours, not a full day and something more, but just a few hours more. So that's good.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at Garrison Battery X. For me, it's 15 hours, 13 minutes. But that's obviously, let me turn off the officers and turn down our R&D and that sort of stuff and see what it says. So 21 hours and 36 minutes for Garrison, the Battery X.
And I like the Talon going down. I mean, the Talon going down this much. I mean,
well,
actually opens up a possibility of actually maybe, you know, putting some of them on an Apollo for me. I wasn't going to do that before, but maybe now, who knows?
Yeah, because the refit time was horrendous. You know, it was a freaking joke. By the time you take it off, and it's a day per, I think it was a day per freaking missile, because there was no way I was ever going to do that. But then also chucking a couple of Talons on a Liberator now, or chucking a couple of Talons in your base guard, and there are some options.
Well, Liberators.
A couple of Talons, nothing.
Yeah.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, get wrecked. Yeah, I know. But frontline countermeasure, I'm still not convinced that's the special I'd use. But anyway, it's had a great reduction. Look, that's a huge reduction in build time. That's good. Fusion charger, that's obviously for a different reason. But we've talked about that hole that's just gone by. And yeah, like I said, the Siege Battery X. So, but the notice on the bottom as well. They're going to do some further reductions as well to more components.
Yeah, for instance, I mean, if anybody from Kixeye watches this, if they reduce the Talon missile like that, they should also now take a look at the Generalist missile from FM.
Yep.
The Edge missile, like that guy should also be in line with the Talon now, the build time.
Yeah, you shouldn't be penalized. Yeah, for a Generalist.
They should look at it. Yeah, they should take a look at it.
Because the Generalist concept was that you build a long time to build the hole blank, but actually the change out is quick.
Yeah, should be.
So just make sure that is in line. Yeah, that'd be a really good one, Ren, I must admit. Anyway, there we go. So there's a plethora of components, and they're all. I'm content. I take it you guys are content as well.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they reduced the build time on the weapon, specifically because
not the hull. Yeah,
the weapon, you put 7 or 8 of those on the hull. That got shaved off by about 8 hours. So that change alone is responsible for 2 days and change that you save, which is about half of the build time that you save on average. And if you had something with more weapon slots, like an Apollo, like a Zealous, if you wanted to put Talons on a Zealous, which is not a bad idea, but you just save so much more time.
Yeah, it is good. Robert, did you say something about payback of hulls that have already been built so far, or something like that, or hulls built that are building currently, or something? Did you mention something about that? I can't remember what it was. Something about tokens.
Yeah, it's everybody who was building Talons when this deploy went live. Go check your ship token inventories. You're going to have a lot of one-day ship build tokens based on the number of Talons that you were refitting at the time. Unlike other build time reductions, they didn't take this one directly off of a hull if you were in the middle of building it. Instead, they gave you 1 hour tokens, which it does a couple of things that allows you to take that time and transfer it to build anywhere, but it also kept the timers the same just in case people were planning, they were getting back from work or whatever, to have that build done right when they got back. Well, now they haven't, quote unquote, lost that time. They've just gained it in ship build tokens. I know I saved a few, but I think I got like 28 net from this, and I was building 4 Talons at the time. So that's about in line with that change.
Okay, so I'm glad you did that, man. I've just snuck this slide in quickly, okay, because I've just created this one, and so here we go. Then, so there's the statement, okay, and so there you go, a bit of concurrent activity at the same time while Brian was talking. So there it is, basically feedback. We have compensated players who have Talon missiles built or building at the time of the deployment of this update, okay, with a varying amount of 1 hour build tokens based on the number of missiles that you have had built or building. Okay, please check your inventories. Now, I checked my inventory, and you can, they've allowed you overstack as well. So of the 1 hour build tokens, okay, and I had, of the 12 you're allowed to have, I had 31.
Yeah, that's weird. I've only got, I've actually got 1 refitting right now, and I've only got 8 tokens, so I'm not sure how they're figuring that. But I did get 8 1 air tokens, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I had 31 in total, I must admit. Unless I already had 12 the 1 hour build tokens, but I don't think I had any tokens. I'm not saying I'm a coin and I've actually done some stuff in my fleets, but you know. But yeah, so 31 was the number I got. So I was quite chuffed with that, to be honest. So there we go. That's another, so you're not being penalized, and that's a really good response. I think that's a very positive response in the game, to be honest. Not only they reduced the time and they've understood that, yeah, that is stretching things a little bit, so that's helped, okay. But also they've recompensated people who have obviously gone ahead already and that sort of stuff. So that's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. Like it. Good. Okay. Next, what have we got next then? Bug fix, it should say fixes, a bug fix and tuning. So this is the penultimate slide, basically. So what I was basically going to cover here was, as it says there, I don't even know about this, but this has caused a bit of an old style sort of, I don't know what the right word is, but I'm not going to say the word hack, but basically an old style glitch in the game which you could exploit. For those that didn't know about it, basically, where it said that it fixed an issue where users were able to move their fleet away from an engaged target on the world map. Read into that what you will, but that no longer happens. Okay, so once you're engaged in the target, you're actually in the target now, and you stay in the target and you keep the damage that you receive from that target, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, Brian?
Yep, there was a for the last couple of days, there was somehow, some way, and of course, yeah, everybody was squealing hack that you could click and engage and then jump really quickly and move away. And so there was the red target and your ship was off, driving off into the sunset.
But you could go inside, have a look, complete the target, and then come back out and your ship wasn't damaged. That's tough. Yeah, anyway, sorted. Good. Okay, that didn't get to the page. That was good. Well, not to our page.
Does this mean that when I actually click on a target and go to it, I'm actually going to engage with it now? Because I think just through sheer lag or whatever, I've had several times where I kept clicking on a target and it would turn blue,
right,
but never red. Oh, and I would be able to move away, but I would never engage with the target, never be able to attack. I don't think this is like that, but I hope that stopped.
The target turned red, but people were still able to move away.
Oh,
it was a timing thing, I believe, and that sort of stuff. People exploit things, and, hey, we've been told several times by certain people to exploit, things. So I'm not going to, condemn anybody for doing things, because if the game allows you to do it, then do it. We've already fought several issues before about things like that. Right. So in general terms, that's it as far as I'm concerned for the slides for tonight. Okay. But I have got one more, and this is a really unusual one, but I think it's a poignant time to pause and reflect. It's not the norm, but it is something I just want to just cover, if you wouldn't mind. So today we found out, obviously, for those that have joined the game in the last 2 years, you probably don't actually know who this person is, but basically Highlander, okay, then, who's one of the long-term players of the game, or was one of the long-term players, unfortunately passed away. Now, Highlander, the nuclear Highlander cruiser basically was named after him, okay, and he was the very first person in BP to get to level 100 in the game. Now, I'm not going to claim any glory or anything like that sort of stuff, but I have spoken to the individual. Okay, I do know the alliance he was in, and really good friends of mine are in that alliance now. The alliance names have changed over the time and that sort of stuff. But actually, I did, probably 3 years ago when it was lots of FVF and that sort of stuff, not only battle, as did Chris Sickner do it as well, but also not only the man you would battle with him, and when I was a mega coiner, we'd fight all the time and that sort of stuff. But the comms was always polite, always courteous and that sort of stuff, and it always offer up ideas and that sort of stuff, and vice versa. And I found that from many comments that have happened on our page today, okay, that everyone's only ever had good words. I mean, there's going to be people that say, no, he lost his temper and he did this and that sort of stuff. Okay, great. But ultimately, the person, as far as I can remember, okay, has only ever had good words, and I've never had a bad piece of comms for him when he played all the time when I was battling against his alliance years ago. I don't do that sort of stuff anymore, but when I was, it was great fun, and I would jump to his particular area just to make sure we can go in battle and that sort of stuff. So my early days when I had a massive alliance, that's something we used to do. So it's rest in peace. Unfortunately, there is a let's not talk about memorials, that sort of stuff, but some people feel there needs to be one. All I just say, Doom did a nice thing, and like I say, they've set his base into a definite bubble and that sort of stuff, and it'll just sit there forever. So rest in peace, buddy, and it was nice knowing you in the game. That's it. That's it as far as I'm concerned. We're done. On a somber note, but there we go. this weekend coming, just for your aware, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out because I'm actually kayaking this weekend again. So I'm not sure how we're going to pan that one out, to be honest, but I'll sort something out. I'll have to nip to my brother's house or something and get the opportunity.
Well, that or I could play Vanna for a while.
Oh yeah, that's be a good. Oh, yeah, I might just be able to start off and then you can host or something, Robin, or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I'll have my mobile phone.
Stu host it.
Well, that'd be a good one, wouldn't it? He has promised he was going to do one.
He's such a nice guy.
He is. He's so polite. Yeah, he did say he was going to do one. I must admit. Yeah, we could do that.
See?
Yeah, that's the fix, isn't it? Unless you want to.
When he watches his back, he'll know.
Get wrecked. Yeah, I know what he'll say.
Open mic number whatever. Title, Get Wrecked.
Yeah, exactly. Get wrecked with my new ships.
You mad, bro?
Yeah. Right. Okay. That's it for tonight. Let's just tip past the hour. I do apologise. I'm going to read much back from the chat tonight, or in fact anything at all, to be honest, because I just keep timing out. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Hangouts and that sort of stuff. But I know people that are in the chat as well are also having the same issue. So it's obviously another YouTube problem.
Yeah, it's a YouTube thing.
Okay, so I'm hoping it'll sort itself out for the weekend because it makes the open mics much better if you can read some of the chat stuff back as well. Can't read everything, but we read what we can. Right, any closing remarks, Brian? Anything you want to say?
I am going to continue to do numbers, and I'll try to adjust when Huggies gets the new stuff in, and when the different build time stuff gets ordered. I'm going to try to keep doing some math, and I hope that the Tier 6 hull is seen definitively as the best tech instead of comparable.
Excellent, good. Rain, what about yourself, mate?
Yeah, what can I say? Science! Oh no, that's Brian. Wait. Brian has someone on the door. Check it out. Who's on the door? There.
We should put him on show, shouldn't we?
Door open.
I should have shared his screen. Darn, I missed it. People do live in that house with him. He's not just in an incubator.
Did you let somebody out of the door, Brian? One of your victims?
Shh. Say no more.
Okay, guys. Have a
Well,
good night,
you got to give them
everyone.
a head start. You got to give them like a 5-minute head start. Sporting.
So look forward, okay, then to probably Robin hosting on Saturday night, okay, which means the viewers will go up by threefold compared to my voice, I'm sure.
There will be a drop.
Thanks, all.
All right.
Show.
Take care, everybody. All night.
Good night, everybody.
Laters.
Bye.